just got done previewing my last video and it occurred to me. It's not that things happen to me first. So I'm seeing it first. It's happening to everybody else around me. They just don't know it. This brings me back full circle. Where is everybody at? It's like everybody checked out. And this is menticide. This is what 2020 caused to people. The reason why it did not cause it to me is because I'm autoimmune. So having people finally start washing their hands and treating each other kindly was heaven for me. Okay? So things are the opposite for me is what they are for other people in other areas. But that's because I'm a different person. So mouse season is upon us. And when I was plagued with my parasites, I was having a Snow White experience myself. And that leads to parasites and health problems. And so you are going to want to put everything in glass jars or plastic. Glass jars is better. And I had mice coming up in through the bottom of my stove and having a heyday, like having a picnic on my counter. And so I have had to redo I've been working on this since 2019. 2019, I got infested with mice. And in houses, there are a lot of places to hide. So I was trying to take away their places to hide. Downsize all my stuff. And make it a different space. My kids are finally grown and gone. The whole house is mine. I own it. And so I decided to take it apart and make something better. However, I have faced nothing but obstacles since then. I got sick at the end of 2019, almost died of what? They call it COVID. But what it actually is good old-fashioned croup. And what that actually is parasites in your lungs from breathing in things that you shouldn't have. Potentially heavy metals, but also the planet is in a cycle, and Mother Nature says that everybody offloads their parasites. Do or die. That's how it was for me, and I'm assuming that's how it's going to be for other people. So get your things in glass jars. China hutches, these were made to keep mice out. Your dog treats, your pet food, it needs to go in a container. No, when you buy a bag from the grocery store, you need to be putting it into a container. Do not leave it in the bag, because also it depreciates. The plastic depreciates the item in the plastic, as well as sitting in that plastic for an extended period of time depreciates the food inside of it. So, also, switch to a different kind of oil. No nut oils with parasites. Coconut oil, coconut is, well, maybe it is a nut. Maybe you do want to use nut oils. I'm going off of what they say online, and what I have discovered is that what they're telling people in how to get rid of parasites, not only has it been the opposite for me, but they're telling people like, oh, treat once a day with soursop or this or that. No, you have to change everything. You're not allowed to eat faux food, at least for a period of time, because that's what parasites like. That's why we have them in the first place. And that's also where they came from. Why? Bleach does not kill parasites. Cooking does not kill all parasites. And so, how many of us have had sushi? I know I did. So, I found out that people with autoimmune deficiency, part of our autoimmunity is parasites. And they create a false immune system. You think you have a pretty sturdy immune system? That's not your immune system. That's parasites protecting themselves. And in order to protect themselves, they have to protect you. So, these are the ones that also helped us make some pretty heroic decisions in life, as well as some pretty dumb ones. Because there is, on a soul level, you want something, or logically you want something, but they keep you counteracting yourself. And that's how you're going to find them in your system, is counteracting yourself. Because people don't realize, like, they're in our brains, they're in our sinus cavities, they are up in everywhere, up in our meat. I was at 94%, 113 pounds. That's a lot of parasites in all of my meat. In fact, potentially, well, I was almost all parasite. I was almost 100%. 94% is almost 100%. Close enough for me. I started rowing the other direction, but doctors try to stop me because, well, they know my mom's a licensed herbologist. They know I like natural things. Some people say they're allergic to opiates. No. I have a severe reaction, and it's not, like, it started off as physical, but it's not just physical anymore. It goes, like, to my core. Opiates bother me, and they mess with my head. And so I know it's messing with other people's heads too. So when I was 16, no, I think I was 14 or 15. I was at a rough point in my life. Found out my boyfriend cheated on me because I was a virgin. Okay, that made sense. And then I found out some crap was going on between my parents. Much the same thing at the same time. What do you know? And then my whole life turned upside down. And on a soul level, I just did not want to be here anymore. So I tried to check out with a bottle of opiates. I left a few in there so that nobody would know. And what ended up happening was I got sick for 3 days. And I spent those 3 days in and out of conscience, but crying and miserable. And my family did nothing to console me. Just let me be there. My dad wasn't there, but he wouldn't have wanted to. My family was emotionally detached. And, you know, I don't think that was just with me. I think that was like a universal thing for them. They felt joy, they felt anger, but other than that, they're just emotionally detached. And I wondered if that was right or not. I questioned it. But anyhow, back to the story. So that did something to my body. And then after that, I couldn't have opiates anymore. These are the ironies that play out in our lives. And so when I would have surgery or anything, I would have to rough it out with the pain, because legitimately I feel like I'm turning inside out when I have opiates and when I'm around it. And so turns out almost everybody in my community had a drug problem of some sort, and all of it I'm allergic to on a very severe level. Can't be around it. And it doesn't matter if I love them, I can't be around them, because what's in their system is coming out of their body. I can't be around it. And so that's why I had to stick to myself a lot. That's why I had to part ways with people. It was because there's specific things that being around would potentially kill me. But because they're used to other people just saying things and it not being true, they didn't pay it enough attention. And it almost killed me. Turns out it's related to the parasites. Upon further scientific research, I found out that the parasites you inherit have the same problems as your ancestors, which would mean like drug abuse and whatnot. So you're going to have a high resistance to that until a neurological system gets broken in a generation, hence autism, maybe. Who knows? It's just a theory. And so when there's ancestral, like substance abuse, the parasites are information. Like, they're basically logging your ancestral information, essentially. And so, matrix-wise, how this plays into the matrix, because all things connect, they are the little microchips that hold information. And some of us have more than others. So, I don't know which one is going to be good or bad, but I got a lot of information out of mine, because when you go through the purge, you can gather information from them, much like interrogating a criminal. So, in this, and like if you're seeking information, then laws of attraction, information comes to you. Whatever you're seeking, laws of attraction, that comes to you. However, if your intentions are not pure, that works against you. I don't know when this started, but that's how it works for me. If my intentions are not pure, then things work against me. And sometimes even if my intentions are pure, it works against me. Because sometimes, even though it was a pure intention, there was a benefit of self. And for some reason, it feels like I'm being punished for that. But as I lose my parasites, that becomes different. And so I'm guessing the parasites have something to do with that. What I'm doing is gathering information as I go through hardships, because it's like every hardship I go through is science for me right now. There's a pattern to things, and so I'm trying to decode it. So, what people should be sitting down and doing is figuring out the pattern to things in your own life. Is there a pattern to things? Call the pattern. Call the cycles. Because that's what everybody's afraid to do. When you catch yourself rinsing and repeating. And here's why, like, every day should be different. Is because it's a new day. And what you should be doing is something different. So that that day stands out. You might not be able to do it every day. But it should be a habit. Make it a habit. If you're used to putting your shoes on right foot first, if you're used to going right-handed first, if you're used to that right first, go left. Try the left first. There's so many things in our lives that we do because it's habit. It's not even instinct. And that's because that's the way society has been trained. And when I noticed I was doing that, is this a habit? Or is this like something that I should keep including? And what I noticed is they get us, like, we get in a rinse and repeat cycle and we go on autopilot. And then we get on burnout. And that typically means that you're going the wrong direction. You are doing things that take energy, not things that give energy. And so this is how, like, you follow the butterfly in following the things that give you energy. Because we've been programmed, especially women, especially certain generations, we've been programmed to pour ourselves into things that take. Hence, like, the domestication of animals. Everybody should have children. Everybody should get married. Like, that's why that psychology came into play. Was because the takers wanted to take. So they needed the givers used to it. Which is why I don't agree with the Adam and Eve story. I think that's what they wanted people to get used to. I don't think that's how it was, to be honest. And same with a lot of other spots in the Bible. I think that's what they wanted people to get used to. I don't think that's actually the storyline. Because this was King James. He didn't play by the rules. Usually, he was doing the opposite of what you thought he was doing. So in this, the Bible would have been done the same way when he had it translated, which would have created competition with the other kings. And so they too would have been in a hurry. Other leaders wanting to get their religion out in written format. And here's the thing, people couldn't even read. They were uneducated. So why put it in writing if people couldn't read? There's all sorts of questions that people should be asking. And you don't exactly need to have an answer. Like, you'll get an answer once you start asking questions. Because that's the matrix of things. But say it out loud. Like, have that conversation with the universe, with nature, with your dog, with your phone. You do everything else with your phone, do that too. So, what I noticed was people were not having smart conversations. They're talking about the next new thing to buy, nails, eyelashes, hair, how they look. They're ambitions in life, but when someone else wants to talk about their ambitions, they don't want to do that. And so I decided I was going to have to like just be my own person, because nobody wants to talk about anything. They're too busy being materialistic or sad. Like, you're going the direction you're being pushed in. That's what's happening. Wherever you're at, you're going the direction you're being pushed in. Go the other way. So, the path of least resistance is actually harder than it looks. And if that's the case, it's supposed to be. Bottom line, things are the opposite of what we think. Things are supposed to be physically harder for us and mentally harder for us than what is. We've been set up in a life of comfort so that we never see the truth. So if you're really comfortable, I wonder if that's where you should be. Especially Christians. Like, is being comfortable really safe? If this is spiritual warfare and you sleep well at night, is it really that safe? No, we have someone that can type existence into a computer and make it everybody else's reality, essentially. The short version, the version people can understand, in the 3D, that's what they're doing. So, somebody programmed in the plagues of Egypt. How many spiders did you see last year? A lot? Yeah. So what comes after spiders? Mice. What comes after mice? Cats. So, nursery rhymes, guys. This is in nursery rhymes. That warns us of things to come. Ring around the rosies? Do you want it to get to that level? Like, this has happened before. Listen to the stories. How am I the only one that's piecing this together? Plagues are upon us. It doesn't matter if someone brought it about. What matters is it's here. So we're going to have mice, which means after the mice, people are going to have a parasite outbreak because people don't know about putting things in containers. And the things we buy don't. Not only do they not come in containers, but they come in toxic containers. We need to bring glass back because it is the one thing that actually, truly, honestly, is recyclable without damaging the atmosphere. Plastic? I question. Plastic has caused a lot of problems. Glass did not. What happened was somebody got lazy and made plastic because they didn't think about what it would do to the planet, I'm guessing. Like, there's no forethought in a lot of these things that have been made. And it's time to rethink that. So I might have had that conversation with AI. That, this really isn't doing the planet any favors. All this plastic. So humanity needs to start coming up with a solution. And we're probably going to have to do the science to help them. So when I have time, I'll get there. The government has been programming struggles into my life. How do I know? Documents that they send me. They know, like, my doctors withheld health care, but they knew I was on the spiritual awakening journey too. I was too honest with people because why should I have anything to hide? I shouldn't have to hide what I'm doing. Why would I do that? I'm not doing anything wrong. And so, like, I've been wanting to create content, but I'm on Social Security. And I'm legitimately ill. So, like, I have to be careful that they're going to use my content creating against me. What kind of horse sense is that? They should be helping me do this. These programs are here to help people be successful. Why are they stomping people into the dirt? What is with that? Everybody should get the chance to be somebody. Being nobody should not be an option, honestly. So the fact that people have been on purpose put in a position where they have no choice but to be a nobody, that should not be allowed. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully that's the direction humanity is going, because I don't want to have to kick anybody's high horse. So this is where recognize where your ego, the things you want, they're going to lead you into devil's traps, the opposite direction of what you should be going. And if you feel stuck, that would be why. Matrix game. Do not go any further. Offload and then turn around and go the other way. The opposite direction of what you're doing. Do the opposite of what you're doing. You got to trace the bad wire in your situation. I've been tracing the bad wire in my situation. The bad wire is all the holdups that somebody keeps pulling on me. And so I decided it was worth taking time out of my life to figure out who is pulling my strings. So you might want to figure out who's pulling your strings. That's part of the spiritual awakening journey too. The anti-apology letter, the anti-amends is a form of offloading your toxic energy. Someone that is valid, or something that is valid. People did that to you. It's valid to offload that energy. And it is important to offload that energy. Sometimes I release them. Today I took it back down. Why? Because now is not the time. And so in this, by taking it back down, I'm controlling my energy. And that's what somebody doesn't want me to do. Why? Because this plays into Illuminati and Masonites. Connects. Computers, Illuminati, Masonites, all of it connects. And so by simply choosing my own actions and to counteract what they want me to do, wanting one hand, shit in the other, which one weighs more? I'm going with my needs. Why? Because that's what's solid. Chasing your desires, or even considering your desires, can be lethal soon. And so, I don't know to what level the whole parasite outbreak is going to get, because people don't want to hear it. They're like, oh, I don't have parasites. Everybody has parasites. You were born with them. Oh, everybody has parasites. Well, yeah, number one, I just said that. Number two, you're not supposed to. That's a defect. That's what's holding everybody back, on all levels. So, this is where you live in denial. How are you going to pass Judgment Day living in denial? I was afraid of living in denial, so I owned not only my shit, but everybody else's shit too. And I was taught that it actually wasn't me. So, up until now, well, from the time we're born till now, my parents didn't deworm me. Did yours? We're Gen X. Like, what do you know? We're the most spiritual generation. Indigo. Like, these things line up. Things have more than one name. And if you're not looking that up, like, the pattern is 3. Things have 3 names, and it takes you to 3 different areas. That shows you how everything connects. And so, the Phoenicians, this is why the American language is Tower of Babel bullshit. And that's how I know, because American language is loosey-goosey. It's time to tighten that up. Because it's spell work. It's spell work. We live on a magical planet. So ever, jinxed yourself where you kept thinking something, kept saying something, like worried that it would happen, and then next thing you know, it did. Laws of attraction. With your energy, you're bringing it to you. So I decided to face my fears so that I could start blasting through that stuff, pushing it away from me. And so that's, I called it my red flag adventure, where I had to go out and face things that I did not like, face people that I did not like, face situations that I did not like. I had to face everything that I hated, legitimately, without putting a stick of dynamite in it. Because when I get mad, on instinct, I want to blow things up. It's just an instinct. I'm a fire sign. Like, fire could be my thing. On a certain level. Because I understand it on a different level than other people. But, so I learned to use my words. A verbal flash fire. And then I remembered the Bible talks about a sword of truth. And I had always made jokes about how sometimes like the words that I say are a two-edged sword. And that's because it's truth. It cuts both ways. So this is where things will align, but verbally. We've been taught to think like children. And so if you don't stop to look at the play on words and do the breakdown and then the build, like you got to break it down and then build a new thought with it, because the information connects. And so you're making uninformed decisions about 3 different things, where when you combine the information, it becomes one thread. Oh, what is that? Computer coding? That's because your brain is a computer. So everything has been fragmented. And so everybody's thoughts have been fragmented too. And so it isn't until you stop and do the mental breakdown that you can start to weave a new thread thought. And in understanding this, like, I'm weaving thoughts like a pro. And I didn't even know it. Wasn't even aware. So, you might be, or you might not be, but you want to be. You want to be connecting the dots on all this information. Why? So you can stay in tune. This is part of this spiritual awakening journey, because things are going to happen that you need to know when to take a hard left. Things are going to happen when you need to know when to play the bad guy and when to pump the brakes. Things are going to happen where you need to know when to walk away and give silent treatment or yell in their face. because that's what needs done. Accountability. And if you don't practice it on yourself, you're not going to know how to use it on other people. If you don't unleash the beast inside of you, like, your dark side is important. Your dark side saved your ass in life. Childhood trauma, your dark side saved you. Turns out it could have been your parasites, but it still saved you. Your dark side could actually be you. You don't know. And that's what everybody's afraid of. That's why they're afraid to open that can of worms. And that's why I think it's just parasites, because of all of the play on words. Everything. Our entire existence. A play on words. God spoke and then things existed. Huh. I wonder if I get that equipment.